Hi guys, it's Fightsci here again with another video, and today I'm breaking down one of the most devastating punchers in boxing today, Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Let's break him down. Also, I apologize for my voice. I'm coming down with a seriously bad cold. I'm very congested, but I wanted to get this video out, so, gotta stay on that grind, you know what I mean, boys? But without further ado, let's move on to the breakdown. Now, one of the things you gotta understand about Gervonta Davis is that he's 30-0. He has 28 knockouts. He has one of the highest knockout rates in boxing, right next to Artur Beterbiev, Deontay Wilder. The guy has 30 wins and 28 knockouts. He has a 93% knockout rate. Guy's fucking insane, especially for his weight class. He's only 135 pounds. You get some hard punchers at that weight class, but nothing like him, really. He's really an anomaly. He's like a lightweight Mike Tyson. Now, one of the things you gotta understand about Gervonta Davis, he had a very rough upbringing. He was born on November 7th, 1994 in Baltimore, Maryland, and just one of the few stories he has, he saw one of his friends get shot on the corner on his neighborhood, and that probably profoundly affected him. He also had a lot of legal troubles, but this is not, character breakdown. This is a fighter breakdown, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. Without further ado, we're going to get into the technical breakdown. Immediate open stance fight, you know the deal, jab, joust, lead foot, all that stuff. Gervonta Davis pre-slips to the back foot to see how Pedraza reacts to his back power hand. Conditions Pedraza, just thinks that the jab is coming, then connect with the stiff overhand left. Good jab feint and left hook to the body from Gervonta. Gervonta does a good job circling away and using that Philly shell in the open stance and blocking his chin with the lead shoulder. Gervonta slips to the back foot with the back hand. Feint, jab, blinder, then another stiff overhand left. Gervonta sets up, left-right hook combination to the body with a blinder and ends off with the left hook to the head. Tank uses backhand blinder to set up right uppercut, left cross. He disengages and smartly switches up. His punch variation lands left, uppercut, right hook. Tank leans to the back foot, attempts to left uppercut, narrowly misses Pedraza. He might have to do it again since Pedraza's center line is open for a punch like that. Pedraza briefly switches to southpaw, attempts to throw right hook, cover. Tank counters with a stiff left hook of his own to the body and rocks Pedraza to end off the round. Gervonta does a good job defending his body from Pedraza, properly holds the phone, however Pedraza throws a shot straight down the pipe, clips Tank right on the schnoz. Tank a little too jittery with that backhand. It seems like Pedraza's starting to probe, starting to catch on to the bad habits Tank does with his backhand. Pedraza exploits Tank's high position. None of those shots really did any damage, however, they're all scoring blows and all eye-catching shots for the judges. After a quick flurry on the inside, Tank does an arm frame across Pedraza's neck and unloads a barrage of left-right hook combinations and ends off with a left uppercut to the chin on Pedraza. Gervonta's head is on Pedraza's right shoulder to viciously attack his right flank with his left hand. Lighten up his liver with a barrage of left uppercuts, left hooks to the body. Tank doing most of the same at this point. One pattern I do see is Tank does this. He sets up a lot of his combinations with the backhand blinder. Tank briefly switches to orthodox to slip the shots of Pedraza out of the Philly shell when he would otherwise be at a disadvantageous angle out of southpaw. Tank, overuse of the high position, is consistently getting him clipped by Pedraza, although young in his career, making Gervonta Davis is very predictable. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, he's very young into his career, so it's a little understandable. However, he is very predictable in this fight, but as you see in later fights, he becomes a lot less predictable. Lead hand blinder sets up A series of 1-2s from Gervonta, followed up by left overhand, right uppercut, left combination. Gervonta leans to his back foot, check the position for the backhand, then leans to his front foot, double jab, left overhand, very heads up thinking by Gervonta. Gervonta leans to the front foot, check the position for his right uppercut, lands the right uppercut, and lands a rear left hand cross. Gervonta now doing a much better job of holding the phone against Pedraza, blocks the majority of his shots with the Philly shell. Good arm frame from Gervonta to keep Pedraza on the line. It's firing lane and unloads a flurry of 1-2s on Pedraza. Gervonta catches Pedraza leaning to the back foot, then clips him with a left overhand. Pedraza catches Tank, not properly lifting up his lead shoulder in the Philly shell, even though Tank is very impressive offensively, at least early in his career or early in his championship career. His defense leaves something to be desired. Left hook, right hook, and Tank doubles up on the right hook on the line on Pedraza, seems to rattle him. Left uppercut to the body from Tank, right hook from Tank. Moves his head to the opposite side of the line to get full leverage on hook. Good frame from Tank with his lead hand, left hook, right hook combination of the body on Pedraza. Seems to buckle his knees. Tank Davis lands vicious combination on Pedraza, starting off with a right hook, right hook combination, seriously rattling / battering Pedraza. Gervonta uses a gazelle cross and clips Pedraza on the line. Tank feints the backhand cross, ends up landing an up jab on Pedraza to close the distance and get on the inside. Once Gervonta closes the distance, he unloads a flurry of right hook, left rear hand combinations on Pedraza. The end is near for Pedraza. Backhand probe, right hook to the body on Pedraza. Gervonta lunges off the back foot and lands that gazelle left cross he was looking to land on Pedraza from last round. Framed left hand, left overhand from Gervonta. Double jab, left uppercut, right hook on Pedraza. Left uppercut, right hook from Gervonta. Left cross, right hook from Gervonta. Gervonta leans to the front foot to check the position for the left uppercut. Punch lane is open. Gervonta lands that crisp left uppercut. Jab probe 1-2 on Pedraza. Gervonta steps back, disengages, wide stance, and lands vicious right hook combos to send Pedraza careening to the canvas. That's pretty much the end of Pedraza. And in this fight, you're going to see a big difference in Gervonta's skill level. He's a much more seasoned vet in this Frank Martin fight. But let's continue on with the fighter breakdown. Immediate high shield from Gervonta. Tank Davis on Frank Martin to read Frank in a bit. Little level change and step feint from Tank. Nothing crazy, but he will turn it on against Frank Martin. Trust. Gotta trust. Tank feints Frank Martin, pretends he's going to explode out of the high shield, and then shells back up. He's definitely baiting some sort of reaction out of Frank. The main difference between the Pedraza and the Martin fight is Tank is a lot more defensively responsible. You can tell him and Calvin Ford definitely touched up on his defense as well as improve upon his offense. Tank probing with the lead hand. He's trying to see what punches Frank throws off the ropes. He sees that Frank is tentative, so he will attack him in that position later. However, Tank overuses the high position still, and Martin ends up attacking the high position when he knew Tank was going to attack. Tank does something very heads up. He did an almost Roy Jones-esque move. He puts both his hands at his side, left himself pretty much open any punch Frank could have thrown at him. However, it was more of a deceptive move to make it harder for Frank to see where his punches would be coming from. Tank flips out a jab, blinder, and then lands backhand on Martin. Tank cuts off Martin diagonally slowly, but surely suffocating him and cutting off the ring. Tank stalks Martin laterally, does a feint step, keeps Martin backpedaling. Tank crosses the line and lands a sharp overhand left on Martin, getting over Martin's lead hand. Tank cuts off Martin diagonally. Martin catches Tank with a stiff swivel jab, catching him moving between the line. Tank catches Martin leaning over the line to his right and catches him with a great left uppercut. Good lead hand hook, feint from Tank. Tank punches through Martin's Swiss cheese guard. He keeps the right hand too high, he keeps the left hand too low. This is Frank Martin. Tank yet again punches through Martin's Swiss cheese guard, starting to pick up on a pattern that Martin holds his hands in a certain way. Tank, with his boxing IQ, is starting to exploit it. Tank uses a blinder up top, then hits Martin low to the body. Another major mistake I see Tank make is he leans to the back foot, and Martin clips him with a 1-2. Good framing with throw from Tank. He's really showing off his power. He might know a little bit of Sambo too from Lomachenko. He picked it up from him. Martin frames Tank and hits him with a backhand. Frank catches Tank leaning to the back foot again. That seems like a habitual problem Tank has. Good backhand, right hook, down parry from Tank. One of Tank's best combinations in the fight. Jab, left cross, right hook seems to rock Frank Martin. Tank cuts off Martin diagonally, then feints the right hook, and then instead throws a sharp jab to the body. Tank does Roy Jones-esque trick again, flares both of his hands out to the side and lands a sharp left hook on Frank's body. By the way, Roy Jones is somebody I definitely need to cover on this channel, but that's besides the point. Tank catches Frank, backpedaling, explodes across the line with a sharp left cross that sends Martin flying back into the ropes. Tank lands most vicious combination of the fight by far, uses a jab blinder on Frank, then repeatedly smashes him with backhands, exploding to the left and right side of the line. At this point, Frank is clearly intimidated by Tank. Tank backs Frank up into a corner laterally. Tank feints the double left hand flare out. Frank completely bites. He flinches, and then Tank lands right hook, left hook combo on Frank. Tank ever so slightly pre-slips on Frank, lands double jab, then explodes across the line. He puts his head on the right side of the line and then thunderously hits him with the left overhand from the heavens. Great right hook, left hook to the body on Frank from Tank. It's very clear at this point that Frank is intimidated. It's only a matter of time before Tank puts him away. With his hands not being placed correctly, his left hand being too low, his right hand being too high, Tank very easily punches through his guard, landing a crisp right hook and punching over his right hand with a left hook right on the button on Frank. Tank pre-slips to the back foot, then follows up on Frank with a jab, right hook combination, sending Frank careening back to the other side of the ring. Tank and Frank both trying to take control of the line, using his backhand probe to control the line, and Frank using his lead hand, both Tank's backhand and Frank's lead hand running into each other. Tank lands floating left uppercut to the body and then immediately follows up with an almost hammer fist to Frank's temple. Tank lands yet another vicious combination on Frank, set up by a jab feint to the body, followed up by a left hook, right hook, left over the top into clinch, jab, blinder, and double left overhand from Tank. The end is near for Frank. Then ends off this combo with a right hook to the body on Frank Martin. 1-2-3 combo from Tank, followed up by a jab, blinder, and left hook to the head on Frank. Tank backs up Frank yet again, lands backhand combo, backhand frame into a right hook to the head and body on Frank. Frank attempts a jab and then walks right into backhand power shot from Tank Davis. Tank puts both of his hands down, moving on and off the line, making himself a harder target to hit upstairs as well as his footwork. Tank finally ends the fight, backs Frank up into a corner, frames him with his lead hand, starts raining down repeated blows with his left hand, clubbing him, going to the left, off the line to the right, generating even more power. Frank gets out of that position but doesn't last for very much longer, because Tank immediately follows up with a left hook that puts Frank down for good. And final additional note I wanted to say was Tank uses different setup for same combos every time. He's extremely skilled, which actually breaking him down very clearly shows me. Tank is without a shadow of a doubt one of the future stars in boxing, and definitely without a shadow of a doubt the best lightweight on the planet currently. Unfortunately, time isn't on his side, him being 30 and all, and he needs to seriously up his level of competition if he wants a shot at greatness. William Zepeda, Lomachenko if he continues to fight, and Shakur Stevenson to name a few. This is Fightsci signing out.